This video is going to be quite different from any of the videos that I've made so far. In this video, I'm going to do some pretty basic analyses of the flavor text of the normal monster cards in YuGiOh OCG. Why? Because I am curious as to whether there are any patterns in the flavor text. How? I firstly collected the flavor texts of 685 OCG normal monster cards from the website YuGiOh Card Wiki. I copy and pasted the flavor text of each card onto a text file. Then I manually segmented the sentences into words because in written Japanese, there are no spaces between words, and the software I used for the analyses does require a space between words. The text files are available from my Patreon page. I also collected text samples from a website called eiga.com. I have never used this website for any other purposes, so I don't know how popular or how reliable it is. On this website, I randomly selected 39 movie synopses written in Japanese. I copy and pasted each onto a text file, and then I manually segmented each sentence into words. These texts collectively will serve as a reference corpus. I used concordance software developed by Lawrence Anthony from Waseda University in Japan. The link to his website is in the description below. He also has a YouTube channel. You can check it out for some tutorials on how to use conc. Disclaimers. Firstly, I did not have the time to make a lemma list. What this implies is that, for example, hashira and hashire both derive from the same verb, hashiru, to run, but without lemmatization, the software considers them to be unrelated words. Secondly, none of the words is tagged. This means that the software doesn't know whether a given word is a noun or a verb, and how it is conjugated. Lemmatization and tagging would make the analyses more in-depth and might uncover some interesting facts, but this video is meant to be just a quick, fun video. Results. Firstly, let's have a look at the frequency list generated by conc. The frequency of a word refers to the number of times the word appears. On this frequency list, the word that appears at the top, namely the particle, or is the most frequent word, and it appears 822 times, which means the particle, or appears 1.2 times on every normal monster card. As you can see, the words that occur frequently are all grammatical words, such as case particles like o, no, ni, wa, and ga, as well as auxiliary verbs like ta, which expresses the past tense, and de, which derives from deru, one of the auxiliary verbs that express the passive voice. This trend is nothing special, because in any language and in any type of text, grammatical words always occur more frequently than content words, or words that have non-linguistic, real-world meanings. With this piece of information in mind, you should notice the oddity of the word kogeki on this list. Kogeki, or attack, is the 12th most frequent word, and it is more frequent than some grammatical words such as kara, from, and nai, which expresses negation. Another unusually frequent word is chikara, or power. It appears 63 times, and it is the 16th most frequent word. The next set of unusually frequent words include senshi, warrior, aite, opponent, mono, person, and doragon, dragon. What these words reveal is that words related to fighting are unusually frequent in Yu-Gi-Oh, which is not at all surprising given the theme of this card game. Another way to find out what words are unusually frequent is by comparing this frequency list with that of another set of texts. This is where the reference corpus becomes useful. On conc, you can upload a reference corpus, which allows the software to generate a keyword list, which tells us what words are abnormally frequent in comparison with a reference corpus. As you can see, kogeki comes at the top of this list. Some other content words include senshi, mono, chikara, dragon, and monster. What's also interesting is that some grammatical words are also on this list. For instance, iru, which signifies existence or ongoing action, is the second most abnormally frequent word. In addition, grammatical particles such as o, zo are also revealed to be unusually frequent. In contrast, if we look at the bottom of the list, we have some negative keywords, which are words that are unusually infrequent. The two most abnormally infrequent words happen to be grammatical particles, ta and wa. The reason for ta being so infrequent is probably because the flavor texts are normally written in the present tense, whereas movie synopses are more likely to be written in the past tense. Next, we are going to find out whether there are any strings of words that co-occur frequently. In order to do so, we are going to look at some of the most frequent n-grams. N-grams are simply strings of words that occur together. The n in n-gram is a variable in the mathematical sense, and n stands for the number of words in a given string. I am interested in n-grams that are longer than 3 words and occur at least 5 times across at least 5 different cards. The most frequent n-gram is reteiru, which has 4 words and expresses the passive voice in the present tense. If you click on the phrase, you can look at the contexts in which this phrase is used. 言われている, it is said. 悩まされている, be troubled. 禁止されている, be prohibited. 知られている, be known. Notice that the n-gram, と言われている, it is said that, is also very frequent. What this suggests is that, in the flavor text, it is common to describe a monster from the perspective of the people who are affected by the monster, and some of the information about these monsters may not be entirely accurate, because the phrase と言われている indicates that the information is only based on legends or rumors. Another frequent n-gram is の力を, the power of. If you look at the context of this phrase is often preceded by yami, as in 闇の力を, the power of darkness. YuGiOh has a huge number of dark monsters, which are typically fiends and spellcasters, so this makes sense. There are also many n-grams related to attacking and fighting, including で敵を, the enemy, with 攻撃をする, attack, 攻撃してくる, come attacking, and also lower on the list are 攻撃は強い, the attack is strong, and 相手を切り刻む, chop up the opponent. One last feature of this concordance software that I haven't shown you yet is its ability to reveal the collocates of a word. A collocate is a word that appears together with another word. For example, if I enter 攻撃 in the search bar, the results show that 防ぐ to prevent, 繰り出す to send out, and かわす to evade are the most statistically likely collocates of 攻撃. How about 戦士 or warrior? The results indicate that 上級 advanced is the most statistically likely collocate. This is strange because 上級 is not really the first word that comes to mind when we think about warriors. The reason for this word being so high on the list is because if you check the context in which this word 上級 is used, you can see that 上級 and 戦士 occur right next to each other, which contributes to the high probability that 戦士 co-occur with 上級. The second most likely collocate is also unusual. Ignite is an archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh, and all Ignite monsters are warrior-type monsters. It is likely that the flavor text of the majority of the normal Ignite monsters include the word senshi. Despite these anomalous collocates, there are also collocates that are expected, such as 強い, strong, because warriors are supposed to be strong, and 剣 or sword, because warriors fight with swords. One potential problem with this method of research is that it requires a huge corpus of text in order to produce any meaningful or interesting results, meaning that we cannot obtain reliable collocates for words that do not appear very often in the corpus. For instance, these are the collocates of the word 足, foot, or leg. Because 足 occurs only 4 times within the flavor text, the only collocate we get are these grammatical words that don't really mean anything. This is the end of this quick video. In the future, I will be analyzing different kinds of texts. Eventually, I hope to compile a huge collection of text from different genres.